We have come out today because we are celebrating the fact that we get to stand on the steps of the Capitol and celebrate our First Amendment rights to stand here and say what we think. And in exercising those First Amendment rights, we can exercise our Second Amendment rights at the same time. You guys are awesome, man. You are fired up today, aren't you? Well, I'll tell you what, we've got to be fired up because our Second Amendment rights are being threatened. And I don't take that lightly, and I think the person that we send to Congress better not take that lightly. We've got to make sure that the person that goes there will stand up for your right to own and to bear an arm. And that's what we are here today for, because it's Ronald Reagan that once said this. He said, "Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem." Do you realize a lot of people have said this in the current debate for the Second Amendment? They've said that the Second Amendment grants the right to own a gun. Well, let me tell you this. The Second Amendment did not grant it, it preserved it. Because when the Second Amendment came out, they just assumed and knew that everybody already had the right to own a gun. All they did was reinforce it, and that's what we're here to do today, is to reinforce your right to own your gun. And I believe that we have got to fight for that right. It's not enough just to stand up here and say, "I'm for guns." It's not enough just to show up to a rally and say, "I'll support you when you're speaking." Folks, we have to fight and fight hard, or this right will be taken away. And we've got to stand up and know that it takes fighters to go to Washington. It doesn't take spineless politicians to go. It takes fighters that are going to stand up for your right and to fight for your right to own that gun. Because what we have to do in order to understand what this amendment really means, I think that we have to look back into history and look at different writers from that period. William Rowell, who in 1829 described the scope of the Second Amendment's right to keep and bear arms. He said this: "No clause in the Constitution could by any rule of construction be conceived to give Congress the power to disarm the people." And I will stand here before you and tell you today, the federal government and the United States Congress does not have the right to take your gun. He continues, he says, "Neither the states nor the national government has the legitimate authority to disarm its citizens." Folks, when someone tells you that the government has the right to take away your gun, they are wrong. And we've got to make sure that they know that we know the difference, because we know we've got the right, and we're going to stand up and we're going to fight for that right. After James Madison submitted the Bill of Rights to Congress, Titch Cox published his remarks on June the 18th, 1789. And he asserted that it's the people as individuals with arms who serve as the ultimate check on government. And I think it's time, and let me know if you agree with me, I think it's time that we serve as the ultimate check on our government now. Are you with me? Our government needs to be checked. And it's not us that should be fearing the government, it's the government that should be fearing us. When the framers of the Constitution wrote it, they knew that when the people are armed, the government fears the people. That's why we cannot stand by and let our right to own a firearm be taken away. Because when that right goes, then the government's not afraid anymore. And it opens the floodgates to so much more. That's why we can stand and say, "Government, fear us? Whose gun is it? Who's going to take it away? In 1788, Titch Cox wrote this: "Who are the militia?
We are!
Are they not ourselves? It is feared then that we shall turn our arms each man against his own bosom. Congress has no power to disarm the militia. Their swords and every other terrible implement of the soldier are the birthright," catch this, "are the birthright of every American. The unlimited power is not in the hands of the federal or the state government, but it's in where I trust God it will remain in the hands of the people." And lastly, Alexander Hamilton wrote this, that he said and states clearly that there exists a right of self-defense against a tyrannical government, and it includes people with their arms. Now let me ask you this: are we there? Are we close to a tyrannical government? I can't hear you. Are we close to a tyrannical government? Well, then we need to tell the government that they need to fear us. Because it's we the people that are in charge, not them. Now, friends and patriots, we have got to continue our fight, and it is a fight, to continue to have the right to own a gun and to own a firearm. The federal or the state government does not have the right to take that away from you. And as long as we stand, as long as we make our voice heard, it won't be taken away. But we have to be vigilant. We have to be strong. And we have to stand in the face of opposition. Because there are people that want to take that right from you. There are people that want to take that gun that's on you right now away from you and not think twice about it. Are we going to let that happen? No! Are we going to let it happen?
No!
Because we have to send someone to Washington, someone in Congress that understands and knows and then will fight for your right, fight for your values, and fight for the right to own that firearm. I am that candidate. We don't need to send someone that's weak. We don't need to send someone that only wants to fall in line with a party. We've got to send someone that's got a spine and a backbone that can stand up to President Barack Obama, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, and say enough is enough. So I ask for your support. I ask for your help. Our booth is in the back. You can go to our website. But I ask for your vote, more importantly, on May the 18th in the primary. We need your help, and we need your support. Now let me ask you this. Whose gun is it?
Mine!
Who can take it away?
Nobody!
Thank you. God bless you, and God bless these United States of America.